Hi, this is Chelsea Moore coming to you once again from Divine Speech and Language Services. Now, the last time I talked to you, we talked about four different learning styles. And just to have a recap, we talked about auditory learning, we talked about reading and writing learning, we talked about kinesthetic learning and visual learning. Now, remember with auditory learning, that's the type of learner that typically tends to learn by hearing and listening. Sometimes those people are the ones that can almost play a recording in terms of a conversation in their head. I have a really good sorority sister that's like that. She'll say, "No, I remember I said this, and then you said that, and then we turned the corner, and then you said this, and your voice went up when you said that." And so she can remember things. In fact, she's a doctor, and that's how she did a lot of her studying. She took notes, but she also remembered what was said. Then you have the visual learners, where people have photographic memories. Those type of people really got on my nerves in college because they excelled at learning very easily because they could look at notes that they saw on transparencies. Yes, I'm telling my age. In college, we had transparencies, and they also would see lists noted in films or anything that we were learning in school, and they could see the bullets. They could actually visualize and connect that information that they learned seeing, like in a movie or in a whatever it was we were studying, and then they could connect those dots with what they saw with what they learned. Then there are the reading and writing learners, people that tend to copy their notes over and over, or if they write down a grocery list, they'll remember what they wrote down. And then, of course, there's the kinesthetic learners. A lot of those learners, not all, but a lot of them are ADHD, and they tend to learn by doing. So think about Beyonce, how she can do dance moves. And sometimes, if you've ever seen like a videography of her and her dancers, she will, or whoever it is, the choreographer may do something once or twice, and then it seems like the whole room gets it. A lot of people that tend to be in that industry are kinesthetic learners. Even beauticians and salon owners, they are the type of people that can hear information, watch their instructor do it, and then once they do it, they have the process down. So that's just a recap of the learners that we talked about last time. Today, we're going to talk about four other types of learnings, and one of them has to do with logical learning, like the logical math type of learners. They are the ones that use logic just to remember how to formulate or simplify processes in their brain. They are the type of people where it's easier when they learn with logic or with reasoning or systems or sequences. So, like people that are lawyers, people that where there has to be one step and then the next step, and this step has to happen before this one does. People that are doctors, people that are mechanics, people that work in the textile industry, people that are builders, carpenters. They are people that can learn with logic and reason. They have to measure everything. And so just because they may have had some difficulty with math in school doesn't mean that they can't be a logical learner. And in addition to that, they can also be social learners. Now, of course, I'm a very social person. Heck, I talk for a living, right? But what happens is that when I'm in a social environment and I get to talk to people, I can also learn that way. So typically, when people are social learners, they tend to learn new things in group settings. So when they have to explain things, they gain understanding through that and through interacting with others. And in that group setting, it helps them to learn. Isn't that pretty cool? I think that's a pretty cool way to learn. Also, there are solitary learners. I had a couple of friends like this in college as well, where they could go in, they would be very intense note takers, and they would write down everything, and then they would lock themselves in a room for hours, and when they would come out, they would know exactly what it was that they studied. They would understand how to connect the dots and how to relate it to previously learned information because they were solitary learners. They love to work alone. They use self-study as techniques, and they preferred their own company when learning. And then the last one, of course, is a combination learner, where it's a kind of a combination of any of the other two or more styles that I talked to you about. So this learning to me is just so cool because there's so many strokes for different folks, and it does not matter how you learn as long as you're able to grasp the information and use it to your benefit. So think about your children. Don't try to make your children read and write and learn using the reading and writing method that was taught to us 30 and 40-year-olders back when we were in school, because now, even with the millennials, everything is so techocentric. if you will. Everything is technologically centered. So they are really combination learners of all of these types. They're very social. They use social media to do this, do that. They learn solitarily. They are your best bet if you have a product and you want someone to handle your social media campaigns. The millennials have it going on. Do you hear me? Because again, they're not like we were, stuck to the writing and reading with a pen and a pencil, or typing, or locking ourselves in a room. They are really open to lots of different ways. So think about that when you talk to your college students, when you talk to your high school students. Don't try to lock them in a box and make them learn like we learned, because that type of learning is kind of an old style of learning. It is still effective and is still appropriate, but it may not be appropriate for everybody. So as parents, think about how you tend to kind of force them to do homework and learn. Let them gather their information appropriately, as long as they're able to recall and connect the dots, and you can help them with that process. Make sure that they are in their comfort zone when they're learning. I hope this helped you. For more information regarding our services, please visit us online at divinespeech.com. And also, you can visit us on Instagram at Speech is Divine. And you can also visit us on Facebook at Divine Speech Language Services. Thank you. Have a great day.